of the holy name of the Lord is more important than Vedic ritualistic sacrifices. Since one may easily achieve the highest success by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one may ask why there are so many Vedic ritualistic ceremonies and why people are attracted to them. Yeah, so it talks about the why, when the chanting is the highest process, then why people are still attracted to Vedic sacrifices. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedescha sarvair ahamev vedyo. The real purpose of studying the Vedas is to approach the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna. Unfortunately, unintelligent people, bewildered by the grandeur of Vedic yagnas, want to see gorgeous sacrifices performed. They want Vedic mantras chanted and huge amounts of money spent for such ceremonies. Sometimes we have to observe the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies to please such unintelligent men. Recently, when we established a large Krishna Balram temple in Vrindavan, we were obliged to have Vedic ceremonies enacted by Brahmanas because the inhabitants of Vrindavan, especially the Smarta Brahmanas, would not accept Europeans and Americans as bona fide Brahmanas. Thus, we had to engage Brahmanas to perform costly yagnas. In spite of these yagnas, the members of our society performed Sankirtan loudly with mridangas, and I considered the Sankirtana more important than the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Both the ceremonies and the Sankirtan were going on simultaneously. The ceremonies were meant for persons interested in Vedic rituals for elevation to heavenly planets. Jadi Krita Matir Madhu Puspitayam. Whereas the Sankirtan was meant for pure devotees interested in pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Especially in this age of Kali, Sankirtan alone is sufficient. If the members of our temples in the different parts of the world simply continue Sankirtan before the deity, especially before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will remain perfect. There is no need of any other performance. So this verse talks about the importance of chanting, and it says why the Vedic yagnas, people are still attracted towards Vedic yagnas. In our Vedas there are two parts. It's called Karma Kand part and the Jnana part. So Karma Kand part, like they talk about all these yagnas for your material benefit, like if you want to get a son. So the Putreshti yagna, like you can do, and the whole process is given there, like now. Then if you want to please some particular god, particular demigod, like now. So if you want rain, like now, there's a particular yagna for that, like now. All those yagna are described in Vedas. But the thing is, like now, for this age, for Kali Yuga, there was 4 yugas, like no, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. For Satyuga, for each yuga, there is a prescribed process for progressing in spiritual life or coming close to the God or realizing the God. In Satyuga, the process was tapasya, austerity, like that. In Treta Yuga, it was yagnas. So Satyuga, the process was tapasya, because people used to live for, like, in Kali Yuga we live 100 years, if we, like, so maybe starting of Kali Yuga it was 100 years, now it has come down to 70, 80 years, right? So now Dwapar Yuga it was 1000 years, in Treta Yuga it's 10,000 years, in Satyuga people lived like 1 lakh years, 100,000 years, that was the average lifespan. That is why, like, when you read from in our Bhagavatam or Shastra, say so and so person did this tapasya was 60,000 years, like. His lifespan was 1,100,000 years. He could do that, like. But we cannot, like, in Kali Yuga, like, we are so much, there are so much weaknesses, like, Kali Yuga has degraded so much, like, our abilities, like in Bhagavatam it's described, like, symptoms of Kali Yuga. So it's Alpayusha, Prayen Alpayusha Sabhya Kaleu Asmin Yuge Jana Mand Sumand Matiyo Mant Bhaghi Upadrita. So it says Prayen Alpayusha Sabhya. Prayen means Aksar. Alpayusha, we are short life. Alp Ayush, Alpayusha, Sabhya. So we have like in Kali Yuga, Praya means most often like we have short lives, right? That is what we see here like. Praya and Alpayusha Sabhya, Kalev Asmin Yuge Jana in this age of Kali, in Kali Yuga. Manda Sumanda Matiyo, Manda we are Manda. Mand is we are lazy. So Manda Sumanda Matiyo. Manda Sumanda Matiyo. So Manda is like lazy and Sumanda like it's misguided. We are Manda, Krishna Prabhuji. We are lazy and we are misguided. Manda Sumanda Matiyo. Manda Bhag. Our Bhag is also Manda. So we have no qualification in Kali Yuga. Out of our ego, we may think we are very intelligent. All of us like sitting here, we think like I am the most intelligent in this group. Like that is what our ego is. Like that is what we always think. I know more than anyone else. Like that's not true. In Kali Yuga, we have so much of handicaps. Like Manda Bhag, he says the Kali Yuga when the people have like no even they don't even a leg doesn't favor them. Like the Manda Bhag, right? Upadrita is then overall they are always disturbed. Always some other anxieties like somebody not something not going well at the work, or someone is not well in the family, or parents are not well. Something is going on. So this is upadrita. So in Kali Yuga, we are full of anxieties. And it's said like that this in Bhagavad Gita, this whole world is full of anxiety. This is in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says like Dukhalayam Ashashwatam, which is this particular word is Dukhalayam Ashashwatam. Ashashwatam is temporary. It's not Shashwat, it's temporary. And Dukhalayam is a mine of misery like What is a chance like if you go to a coal mine with a white suit, white shirt, white pant, white hat, white tie, everything? What is the chance that you will come out clean? No. You are in this material world and this is a mine of miseries like you are here like you will be affected by it. There's no other way like it's a futile effort to become happy here like. Because this is a Dukhalayam Ashashwatam. That is Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. That is not we are saying. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita is Dukhalayam Ashashwatam. Only thing what works is if you want to get out of this misery, want to become happy, get out of this like as long as you are inside the mind, you cannot be happy like once you get out of it, then you can be happy. So you say the Vedic why the people are attracted towards the Vedic yagnas? Because most of the people are interested in their material benefit. They want like something, so they perform some yagna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. They perform some yagna and they get something like that, so they're very happy, so they're very attracted towards that. That's one reason. Other is some people like they just as this verse says like they just do for the sake of doing it like they feel like as if they're going some auspicious activity going on. Nowadays like most of the things are outsourced like when we say yagna does not only mean that we're like Havan or in chanting is also in yagna like. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, yagya naam jap yaggo asmi. He says, I am out of all the yagnas, I am the jap yagya. The chanting like. They say is out of all yagnas, this is the best and that is what I am like. This Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So jap yagna is also a yagna. Sankirtan yagna is also in yagna like But the usually what our perception of yagna is something is like it's a havan, right? And we're doing ahuti, that is like yagna. So this also means like Vedic ritualistic ceremony is that kind of yagna where we do havan and all. But that is either for some material benefit or elevation to higher planets like those yagnas are not meant for ultimate pleasure of the Lord, ultimate like pleasing the Lord. So that is what people are more attracted because they get some material benefit out of it. They fulfill their desire. Now I think everything is outsourced like I know this one of my cousin, he went to this Jyotsi and he told him like you have to do Mahamrityunjay yagna some 11 lakh baar kuch karna hai aapko. He was like worried, like 11 lakhs times, like no, I cannot do it myself, like no. So someone suggested him go to this Panditji and he'll do it for you. So he went to him, the Panditji asked him some 5,000 rupees or something, and he said, no problem, you go home, like you sleep, I'll do it for you. So everything is outsourced now. There was one Prabhuji was telling like this is when he invited Panditji for yagna at home, and he himself was not sitting in the yagna. He was like in some other room, like na Panditji was doing yagna, and he said, Panditji, please jaldi karo, mera office jane time ho raha hai. Panditji bhi also unko kya interest? What interest he has got like? What interest he has got in like no? This is, so he also finishing the because he has to go to some other client after this like. So in Kali Yuga, like, we don't have the purity, we don't have that bhava from inside, we don't have like purity or qualification to chant the mantras properly. In olden days, like it says these Brahmanas, they used to chant mantra and lit fire with the mantras like. But we don't have that potency anymore like now. We don't have the Brahmanas of that caliber now. We are in Kali Yuga. So as you can imagine, like now, even we cannot. Earlier in those days, like now, in earlier yugas, the demigod, when you give the offering in the Agni, like Om Varun Devaya Nama, so Varun Dev used to come and accept the offering, like it used to satisfy him. That offering used to reach him, like now. And now in Kali Yuga, like now, we cannot chant the mantras properly, so nothing. Yagnas is like not a right process recommended for this age because of our disqualifications or our limitations, like now, or our because we are not pure enough, or we don't have Brahmanas like who are pure enough, who can do it on our behalf. Like so, for this age and time, for Kali Yuga, what is the process prescribed? It is it says even all the most of the scriptures they say that like even the Ramayana, Tulsidas Ramayana, most of us is from North India, like no, we are very much attached to this Tulsidas Ramayana because that is the only Ramayana we know, and we don't know this Valmiki Ramayana like no. North is Tulsidas Ramayana is very popular like, and they say like and those Ramayana days also. Like I remember last time when I went to India, we had Akhand Ramayana. My father invited a bhajan mandali from outside, like because in the night we don't have the family members who can sit and recite the Ramayana. So all the family members are sleeping on this mandali. It's like they are taking turns in the night, like no. So everything is outsourced now. Everything is outsourced. So this is the Ramayana also says Kalyug Keval Naam Adhara. Kalyug Keval Naam Adhara Sumir Sumir Nar Utarahi Para. This is Kalyug Keval. This Keval word is very important here. Kalyug Keval Naam Adhara. It's not that Yagna is also good and Naam is also good and this is also good. Keval Naam Adhara. It's another verse. It says like what is that? Kalev Nastev Gatri Anyatha. This what is the first line? Hare Naam Hare Namayu Kevalam. Kalev Nastev Gatri Anyatha. Says Hare Naam. The name of the Lord. Hare Namayu Kevalam. Hari ka naam hi Keval. Keval is again like this, very important. Kalev Nastev Gatir Anyatha. There is no other way. In Kali Yuga, that's the only way, chanting the holy names of the Lord. In Bhagavatam it says, Kalev Dos Nidhe Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Guna. Kali Yuga has got lot of faults. Kali Yuga Dos Nidhe is like Nidhi, like Khajana of Dos. He is like so many faults. Kaliyo Dos Nidhe Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Guna. There is one quality, one very good quality. He has got a lot of faults, but there is one very good quality. What is that? Krishna's Kaliyo Dos Nidhe Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Guna Kirtanad Krishnasya. By doing the Kirtan of Lord's holy name, Kirtanad Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. We can free ourselves from these miseries like that. All our scriptures, where we talk about all the Puranas, they are full of these recommendations like no. This is chanting is the only way in this for this age and time. In Dwapar Yuga, it was like deity worship. Deity worship was the means to realize the God. In Treta Yuga, it was yagnas. In Sat Yuga, it was tapasya. So for Kali Yuga, it's chanting the holy names of the Lord. Kirtan. So, all right, so it says, so any questions so far on this?
So, how long is Kali Yuga? When is going to finish? Or
Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years, 4,320,000 years. It's Kali Yuga. And
it's not ending in near future.
No.
no,
Near future.
You are safe.
it's 4,320,000 years is the Kali Yuga, and only 5,000 years have passed.
I think the day Krishna left.
It was end
Earth,
of Kali Yuga, yeah.
So, as per Shastras, Krishna left 5,000 years back. And in Bhagavatam, this time limit of 4 million given. So, 5,000 you can divide, subtract from that.
So 4,320,000 years is the Kali Yuga, and 5,000 years have passed. When the Krishna left this planet and when Parikshit Maharaj came, the Bhagavatam starts with that in advent of Kali, like, there's a chapter on that, how the Kali was approaching. And the Dwapar Yuga was finishing and the Kali was approaching, like, so that's how the Bhagavatam starts. It's a long time to go. But it is said, like, the first 10,000 years of Kali Yuga are very good for if you really want to achieve the God realization. After 10,000 years, things will be very bad. Things will be very bad, like, and this is will be moving towards the end of the latter part of the Kali Yuga will be very bad and will not have, will not be, the situations or will not be conducive for this God realization, like. Yeah, that's, so we go to spiritual edification. Do you want to take turns to read this? So let's read one paragraph each. Okay, we'll start.
Spiritual edification. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the golden avatar, appeared in India nearly 500 years ago. It is the custom in India that when a child is born, an astrologer is called for. When Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared 5,000 years ago, Garg Muni was called by his father, and he said, This child formerly incarnated in 3 complexions, such as red and golden, and now he has appeared in blackish color. Krishna's color is described in the scriptures as blackish, just like the color of a cloud. Lord Chaitanya is understood to be Krishna appearing in golden complexion.
Right, so this is talking about that Krishna, when Krishna was born, like, this Garga Muni. Garga Muni, he told that this Krishna has already taken birth in 2 other colors. Now this is the 3rd blackish color. Usually it is said in the 4 yugas, Krishna, the God takes incarnations in white, red, blue, and white, red, yellow. White, red, yellow, and blue, not blue, blackish colors, like. So it means like the red and golden is already taken avatara. Now it's a blackish Krishna, and the 4th avatara which is left is yellow. So that's what it means.
I'll continue.
Yeah.
There is much evidence in Vedic literature that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an incarnation of Krishna, and this is confirmed by scholars and devotees. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is confirmed that the incarnation of Krishna or God in this present age, Kali Yuga, will always engage in describing Krishna. He is Krishna, but as a devotee of Krishna, he describes himself. And in this age, his bodily complexion will not be blackish.
So okay, this is talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya So I wanted to emphasize one more point, like on the yagnas. Like all the yagnas are designed, even though they are for material benefits. Like in the way our rishi and munis, they have like designed those yagnas. Whichever yagna you do, like no, it's all starts with the Lord Krishna and ends with the Lord Krishna. Even like no, you call a priest at your home, like no, and if you have not noticed, just see what mantras he's chanting, like no. When they start purifying their hands, like purifying themselves before starting the puja, Om Keshwaya Nama, Om Narayana Nama, Om Madhvaya Nama, Om Govindaya Nama. See, this is all Krishna, Madhav, Govinda, Narayana, this is all Krishna's name. Like even you might be doing some yagna for a material benefit, but it has been designed in a way so that you come closer to the God, you come closer to Krishna also. So it's like the package is designed nicely that it fulfills your material desires also, at the same time helps you to progress towards Krishna. When they start the yagna, which mantra they chant? Om apavitra pavitra va sarvavastha gato nipa ya smrit pundari kaksham. Ya smrit pundari kaksh. Pundari kakshi, Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Ya smrit pundari kaksham vahay antarayat suchi. Sincerely, if you remember the Pundrika, the Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu in your heart, you will be cleansed from inside and out. Vaha antrayat shuchi. That is like remembering the names of the Lord, it cleanses you from externally and internally as well. So that is the first mantra when they start the yagna. See, now you should remember the Lord so that you are completely clean from inside out, and then we can start the puja. And at the last, what they chant? Mantrahinam, Kriyahinam, Bhaktihinam, Janardana. Janardana is Krishna again. बीच में whatever they are doing like this, Om Namah Shivaya और किसके नाम का भी आहुति देते रहे वो, शुरुआत and end like this, all designed in very very nicely like no. Mantrahinam, Kriyahinam, Bhaktihinam, Janardana. So he say whatever I am Mantrahinam, I don't know how to chant the mantras like. Kriyahina, I don't know what the right process, how to perform this yagna. Bhakti-hinam, I have no devotion, but I am doing it for you, please accept it like. So that is the last. So everything is designed by our rishi and munis like, so that we come closer to the God like. So that is, when you notice like what mantras they are chanting, you'll notice that like. So you might, whatever mantra yagna you are doing, but this is all the minimum things like to starting and ending the yagna.
Oh, I have a question about Krishna's appearing in a red complexion. Can you talk about that?
See, Krishna had lot of incarnations. Like in Satyuga, what was the incarnation in Satyuga? In Bhagavatam, Krishna has main. They talked about like the Shaktiaves avatar, the 24 main avatars like incarnations of Krishna. Krishna has thousands of avatars, thousands and thousands of incarnations like. The main 24 what described in Bhagavatam are like in Satyuga we had Narsingadev, Lord Narsingadev appeared in Satyuga, then we have Matsya avatar, Varaha avatar, Kurma avatar and all Varahadev, Vamadev is Varahadev, so Varaha avatar. And then in Treta Yuga we only remember the Lord Ram, but there are many other incarnations have come, but Krishna or Lord Ram came in Treta Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, Krishna himself came. And in Kali Yuga, the last incarnation of Kali Yuga is Kaliki avatar. But that's the last one. That's not the only avatar like now. But Krishna takes like thousands of avatars like now. So he what he's talking about, he has usually all these incarnations are one of these four colors based on the yugas like now. So he's talking about white, red, yellow and black. Like these are four colors, and when this Lord takes incarnation, he's one of these four colors. It's like now red and yellow is already incarnated. I really don't know what was the red incarnation like now. So
maybe Narsingadev, I don't know.
I don't know what is it, but the idea is like this incarnation is based on the yugas. And he said he's already incarnated in these two colors. This is the third color. So only in now the next incarnation left is the yellow color like. So next incarnation will be yellowish in color like. And that is what it said. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had the yellow color, the golden yellow color, like the Radha Rani, molten gold color like. So Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Yeah, sure.
I think probably your question was who incarnated in red
Yeah,
color, right?
Yeah, in red color.
I need to check. I don't know. So Lord Ram is also said it was like greenish incarnation. It was not red. He's like I think he's shown in the pictures as the same color as Savla color, like Krishna. But in scriptures it's written he was like he had some greenish complexion, like I don't know the red complexion who.
So Prabhuji, अगर जैसे body is not that important, soul is important. Why is there so much emphasis on what color? I mean, I keep reading.
For this, for us, body is not important, soul is important. Why soul is important? Because soul is a spiritual, body is material. For the Lord, everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual, like it takes different forms for different pastimes. Like for us, we have limitation. We have to do all the pastimes in the same body. Can you change the body? When I am going to the office or when I am going to on a date, I should look more beautiful. I should be in different body. When I am going to office, I should be like look different. No, we cannot change our body, right? We have to do. हमको गुस्सा आ रहा है या खुश हो रहा है नहीं खुशी हो रही है when you're talking to my wife or talking to my kid or talking to friend, whatever we do, like we do in the same body, right? Lord has that ability, Lord has that power that He can change His body based on His pastime, based on the what Leela He wants to perform. So He can change His body. And His body is completely spiritual. There is nothing material in His body. Like our spiritual, our soul is spiritual, but our body is material. Like no. But in the spiritual world, there is nothing is material. Everything is spiritual. So Lord's, it's not that Lord's body is not, but His body is complete spiritual. Like we are talking about color, like no, it's a color and form of the Lord. Because when you're talking to people are attracted towards the deity form of the Lord. That is how, like, whole objective is to develop the love for God. It may be any religion, whether it's Christianity or Islam or any religion. Ultimate objective is to develop love for God. And how can we develop love for God?
By imagining or visualizing Him in.
There are many ways, like, no, this is first of thing, like we have to, when you're serving the deities, you get attracted towards deities, like, Laddu Gopal looks so nice, like, his eyes are so beautiful, he's playing nice flute, like, no, when you're serving him daily, slowly you get attachment. You'll start feeling when you go out that I have not offered food to my Laddu Gopal, he'll be hungry, like, no, I should go back home, offer him food. I have not changed the water in the morning, like, no, he might be thirsty. I should go back home and give him the water. In the night, like you drink milk like before going to bed, you offer milk to him also. Slowly you start developing those kind of bhavas like. And Bhagwan bhavgrahi hai. He is like, no, he sees your bhava. When you develop that kind of relationship with the God, then like no, he's another member in your family. He's attached to Lord, like Krishna, you might be attached to one particular form of Lord Krishna. Devendra Prabhu has got this Bal Gopal deities, like some people have like Radha Shyamsundar deities, like, right? Everyone has got his own like the deity you are serving, you get attached to it, like no. And that attachment slowly brings the love, develop the love for God. And that deity worship, the first very important thing is your heart should be purified. Otherwise, you cannot develop love for God. Your heart should be purified. Purified of what? We don't have like dust or dirt there to go and jhadu maar diya to clean ho gaya everything, right? Our heart is contaminated, mad, moh, matsarya or kam, krodh, moh. What is that? 6 things. Kam, krodh, moh, lobh, mad, matsarya. 6. These are the contamination. These are the contaminations in our heart. So we have to purify our heart. Lord is completely spiritual, like, no, He is like, unless we are completely purified, you cannot go back to Goloka Vrindavan. You cannot go back to Vaikuntha. You have to completely purify your heart of all these Kam, Krodh, Lobha, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. These anarthas. And you have to be free from all the material desires. When you come to that stage, then you have a natural love for God. We don't have to bring this something from out. This is how we are. This is how our soul is. Soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So we have love for Him. But now, like because of our conditioning, like because we are in this material world and we have so many material desires, like no, so it's, and so many anarthas, so it's all covering the soul. Soul is not able to exhibit its original qualities, like. So purity comes from when you start serving the Lord, when you start getting attachment, it starts purifying your heart. Slowly, slowly, all those anarthas will start going away. Another, when you chant like no, the names of the Lord, that purifies you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Sikshastakam, Cheto Darpana Mardinam Ho Mahadava. Cheto Darpana Mardinam, it cleanses your heart. This Cheto Darpana, the chanting cleanses your heart. All this cleanses your heart means it will free your heart from all the anartha. That's it, chanting is very important. When you have a mirror, and it's covered with a dust, you cannot see your reflection in it, right? We cannot see your picture in the mirror. That is covered with the dust. You have to remove that dust. So that dust in our heart is all this Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Mat, Matsar, that is the dirt. When we remove that dirt, you can see our picture in the mirror. And when you see our in the picture mirror, we can realize that yes, we are the soul and we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And that is our original constitutional position. And this chanting, that's why chanting is very important. It cleanses your heart. And I guarantee you, like you start chanting for 3 months and tell me, you'll feel that your heart is getting cleansed. I have felt it. Millions of other people have felt it. I know at least hundreds of people who have felt it like this. When you start chanting, after 3 months, you chant for 3 months, you'll see the change in your heart. And you can feel it. It's not like you'll not feel it. That is very potent process like now. And once you start having that change in the heart, then you have faith in the process. Yes, it works. That's what happened with Devendra Prabhu. Once he got the taste, he's into it, like then he started inviting you people, right? Next will be you guys inviting your friends, like. This is all, you feel it like. It's not that we are just sitting here and chanting or scriptures, it doesn't work. It works and you feel it. You feel it. You don't feel it, stop it like now. All of us have felt it like. So you'll feel it.
And just to add, like why there is emphasis on colors, and because you need some kind of indication, like as per Shastra, for people like us who can know who is the incarnation of God. Like if you don't know what is the color or what is the physical appearance, we will not know.
Yes, sir, everything is like this. It's all once everyone is attached towards different forms and different colors and different gods, like no. So this is different forms. So this is there are people who in South India they worship Lord Nrsimhadev, and they are the devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev. So that's there are people who are devotees of Hanumanji or Lord Ram, so different deities like no. There are a lot of devotees attached to Mother Durga, like no. So they are worship of Mother Durga. So this is all. So another thing is like it says Naam is when you're talking about when you started the discussion about the holy names. It said this is Namanam Akar Bahuda Nidhi Sarva Shaktis. Krishna has Namanam Akar Bahuda Nidhi Sarva Shaktis. All his Nidhi Sarva Shaktis, all his energy, all his potencies he has invested in these holy names. Bhagwan ka naam or Bhagwan mein there is no difference. It's in material world we have duality. We have like din and raat, sach or jhoot. We have like duality, thanda, garam, like no. There are two things like thanda and garam. In the spiritual world, there's no dualities like no. Everything is one. Like here, there is a difference between the name and the object. We have the difference in the name and the object, like no, right? Pani, when we say water or pani is not same as the word pani. Imagine a situation like no, this is if the word pani is same as the object or the substance pani, substance water, what will happen? Right now, if you're thirsty, if you say water, it's not going to quench your thirst. Will it? You're thirsty like this, water, pani is not going to quench your thirst. But if there is no difference between the water and the substance water, as soon as you say water, you will have water in your mouth. You'll feel water, isn't it? Imagine it, like you think about it. Take it as a homework, like think about, meditate on it, like if there is no difference between the name and substance, then you'll have immediately that thing like with you. That name and substance is not different. So you cannot differentiate. When you name it, it will be there like. Same thing in the spiritual world, there is no duality. Krishna and his name, there is no difference. So when you say Krishna, when you chant Krishna, Krishna is there. Krishna is said when you are chanting, Krishna is dancing on your tongue. That is what is said. When you are chanting, Krishna is dancing on your tongue. Because there is no difference between Krishna and person Krishna and the name Krishna. Like when you say Krishna, they cannot be separated because they are the same thing, so they will be there. Like there is no duality. This is Nam Akar Bahuda Nit Sarva Shakti. The very important thing is Tatraripita Niyamata Smarne Nakala. Tatraripita Niyamata Smarne Nakala. The most important, most of the mantras, you have some rules and regulations. What time you can chant, when you should chant, you should be clean, you should have taken bath, you should have clean clothes before you chant those mantras. But this Hare Krishna mantra, it says, isko Tatraripita Smaranam Niyamta Smarne Nakala. There is no rules and regulations. There is no rules and regulations of time, place and circumstances. You don't have to take bath to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You can get up from your bed in the morning and start chanting. You can chant in whichever condition you are. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he used to go and chant like in bathroom. He wanted to get away from all the destruction, like he used to go and chant there, like. You can, this is the in Kali Yuga, we have no ability to keep ourselves clean, like no. Those even not so long, I don't remember my Dadi and Taiji, they used to take bath every time they go to bathroom. Every time they go to bathroom, they used to take bath. How many of us can do it? How? You cannot follow the cleanliness, the principles of cleanliness. We cannot follow our like this is our, we are not our ability, or we have all these limitations, and we are really we cannot follow all this, like we are in Kali Yuga and we have so much of shortcomings in us. So we are not talking about Dwapar Yuga or Treta Yuga, we are just talking about I have seen it, like. I remember I went to my Taiji for summer vacation, it was a horrible summer vacation, I had to take bath every time, I go to bathroom.
My grandfather used
I
to
never went second time.
my grandfather used to wash hands 21 times after bathroom, every time.
Yeah.
21 times.
Yeah, that's a cleanliness. That's a cleanliness, this is what is recommended. So we have we cannot do that, for us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this Maha Mantra, and which is so easy, there is no rules and regulations, there is no cleanliness or rules of time, place and circumstances. You can chant anytime, right? What happens if the mantra is supposed to be chanted with cleanliness and you don't chant with cleanliness, you don't see the effect. And then you say nothing works like this, all bogus. It doesn't work like this. But you don't see are you doing it properly? Same thing, yagnas now. We are not able to chant mantras properly and we are doing yagnas. That yagna is not going to give you any result. And then you said yagnas are useless, nothing happens with that. But I can tell you this mantra works, and it has worked on us, That's why we are sitting here. We are all grahasthas. We all have families. We all have jobs. But it's still we are spending so much of time in it because we have seen the benefit. We have seen the benefit. Devendra Prabhu is there, he has seen the benefit. Didi is there, she has seen the benefit. So that's why they are more and more attracted towards it. So And all whatever is written about scriptures is not just a story like now. In Bhagavatam, there's a Bhavishya Puran, there's so many scripts. Bhavishya Puran is all about forecasting the things which has to come in future. Bhagavatam was written when? 5,000 years back. When Vedavyas was here 5,000 years back, Bhagavatam was written. And Bhagavatam had mentioned the Lord Buddha as an incarnation. Lord Buddha happened to be 26 or 2600 years back. But Bhagavatam has already mentioned his name as an incarnation. And he came. And we know that Gautam Buddha came just 2600 years back. Everything is written in Bhagavatam or our scriptures. Nothing has proven wrong till date. Everything is perfect. The way it is written is happening the same way. Bhagavatam has already forecasted the advent of Lord Buddha with the name and mother's name and the place name and everything like that. Is that his mother's name will be Anjana and he'll be born in so and so place like everything. Even the Kaliki avatar, the Bhagavatam has given the name, place and everything like
The
that.
name of his parents and
Yeah. Not only he's talked about the activities, also what this avatar is going to do. So this is, we should have, this only thing what we need is a little faith to start. And it's not that it's a blind faith like, no. When you have little faith, you start and we see the benefits, then you get more faith like, no. And faith gets more stronger and stronger. You take steps like, no. You start with little faith like, no, you see the results. Where we all have seen the results. We all have seen the result. You don't have to do anything like, no. We are not asking you to go and shave your head and take sannyas like, no. Right? You live in the same family. You have to just change little bit of like your daily routine things like, center everything about your Krishna, like about deities, and you'll see the whole family is so happy. When kids are happy, your family is so happy, everything is centered around Krishna, you'll enjoy the bliss. You'll enjoy the bliss.
So
Happiness is not the right word. Bliss, you see that bliss is ultimate form of happiness. If you see the dictionary meaning of the bliss, it says like the topmost happiness is called bliss. So, yes, Prabhu.
yeah. So Buddha's reference is there. But we in the present world observe that Buddhism is a different way of practice of spirituality. Why is there no back reference from Buddhism to Bhagavatam or Gita? And they behave as a separate, totally very distinct.
Yeah, Lord Buddha, all these avatars, they came for certain purpose. Right? All the avatar incarnation, they have a specific purpose. When the Lord Buddha incarnated that time, people were like, started eating the cows also, very rampantly in the society, and they were not even have any respect for any religious principles. So he came, he wanted to stop that. It's like if a child is in first grade, can you teach him calculus? You cannot teach him calculus, right? You have to go step by step, right? When in first grade, you have to teach the mathematics. The first grade, when he goes to high school, he'll learn calculus, like. He has to come to that level. So same thing like, this is, when Lord Buddha came, he wanted to stop this. People taking the reference from Vedas and they started doing these animal sacrifices and they start eating it. It's like the Christians now. Christians talk to Christians, they say, yeah, there's no, only human beings have soul, the animals have no soul, so we can kill them and eat them like that. And Jesus has said in Bible that thou shalt not kill. He has not written that thou shalt not murder. He said thou shalt not kill, which includes animals also. If it's just for human beings, he should have written that thou shalt not murder, right? Murder is used for human beings like that. But he said thou shalt not kill. But the Christians have interpreted in a different way. They say the animals, they don't have souls, so we can kill them and eat them like that. But in our philosophy, we know that animals have a soul too. Not only that, even the trees have soul too, like that. Forget about animals like that. So Buddha came for a specific purpose. That time, people taking reference from Vedas. They are following the Vedas but misinterpreting the Vedas. Till date, if you go to this Kali temple in Calcutta, they still sacrifice the goat there and they distribute prasadam. Still, once in a year or something like they do it like. But it's our Vedic, that's what the misinterpretation of our Vedic scriptures like. Vedic scriptures, they allow you to set for those people like now. Those whole, our Vedic philosophy is not meant for one particular segment of the people or one particular segment of the society like. We're not meant for, it's meant, the way it has been designed that the whole society can progress together. So society has got people who eat meat also. They are so much attached to meat, they are not able to give up meat. So what to do for them? So what Vedas did like, no, Vedas, they, okay, if you cannot give up meat, what you need to do, you need to follow these regulations. Like our sex life. Actually, ideally speaking, sex life, all this is not at all conducive, right? But still, we cannot avoid that, or we are so much attached to it. It has been regulated. Okay, you can get married, but you have to live with one wife, and that's husband and wife, and that's Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. This illicit sex is not allowed. But otherwise, for the husband and wife, if they are married in a Vedic way, it's fine, right? For producing Krishna conscious children. So it's a regulation is there. Whenever I cannot tell you like you cannot do this because you will not be able to follow that. So what if you, okay, like children are there, they say I want to eat chocolate. Like, chocolate is not good for them, right? So as long as they are not eating, you allow them, okay, like I will... I remember that Halloween we got a lot of candies, right? A lot of candies, and they started eating. The Halloween in evening itself, I think like now this 10% of candies were finished. Like to next day, Manju told the kids like, you are going to get one candy after food every day. That's a regulation, right? You're not telling them you'll not get anything, but that's difficult. So she allowed them, but with some regulation so that it's not harmful for them also. They're not having too much sugar also. At the same time, they are also getting something, so they are satisfied too. So that's a regulation. Same thing like now, the people starting using Vedic scriptures, although it is written very clearly in Vedas, when you are killing a goat or whatever, like whatever animal, there are particular mantras to be chanted when you are killing them. And those mantras says like, no, I'm killing you now, but in future I allow you, I'll take birth as in your body and you can kill me. Right? So there'll be in future you'll take birth as a goat and the goat will take birth as a human being and that goat is going to kill you. So that is written clearly. So our Vedas have given some regulation, like if you cannot, so much attached to meat, you cannot give up meat, so you follow this. When you want to eat meat, you cannot eat meats on certain days, you cannot eat meat on certain festivals, you cannot eat meat those days. A lot of regulations are there, and these days you can eat meat, but this is what you have to follow. You have to chant these mantras before killing the goat, you have to chant these mantras before eating, and all those regulations are there. And all those mantras says like, no, if you are killing me, I'll kill you in your next life or in one of the future lives, like, right? So Buddha came, and this was very rampant, like, no, Lord Buddha's objective was to stop this. And they were taking reference from Vedas to do this animal sacrifice. The Buddhas came and he started preaching the philosophy of Shunyavad. This is called voidism. And he came and he said like, there's no God. There's no like Vedas. So forget about the Vedas. Like, no, this is, and only thing is follow ahimsa. Don't kill the animals. That is what this principle they have given a lot of emphasis on, ahimsa. Ahimsa, satya, and all those eightfold process of Buddhism. Like, no, I don't remember all it, but that's ahimsa was the main, because that was the objective of this incarnation. And as these are voidism. Voidism means there is no God. But people were taking reference from Vedas, and God, it says, it's allowed in Vedas, why can't we do it? And they were doing it. So he taught that philosophy of ahimsa. So he fulfilled the objective of that particular incarnation. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, to some extent. There's another thing. I mean, as kids, we learn in the books that Buddha, I mean, from his regular household life, he moved into sannyasa. He went for 21 days of penance and all. What motivated him essentially was around the misery of death. And,
He saw three things:
Yeah, and
the old man and
Correct.
a
So that
dying
motivated
dead
him.
body. Yeah.
So the version you gave is a different one than what I knew, essentially originally.
What is that?
The version that you gave, that it was more because people were practicing, killing of animals and misinterpreting the Vedas. That was not known to me. What I knew was this, that it was all because of the misery of this life. As a human being, person goes, he was questioning that. Why is that necessary? And that's how he ended up getting into that process of 21 days of penance and then enlightenment.
Yeah, he was incarnation of God. So all this, this is past times. That is how it is. It will be unfolded. That incarnation was already forecasted. That he came here and he saw that dead body and the old man and what is the third thing? The three things he saw, and then he got that vairagya. That just like this, and then that's how the past times goes. But this was the main purpose, of the avatar, to stop this killing, All right, so it's 12 o'clock.
Cool. Can I?
Yeah, this is okay.
Continue next time.
So let me read and I'll finish it quickly,
Jitna
right?
can-
So another feature of this avatara is that he is always accompanied by his associates. Krishna or God comes with the two missions: to give protection to the devotees and to destroy the demons. In this age, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is also like that, to deliver the devotees, to annihilate the non-devotees, the demons, but in this age he has a different weapon. That weapon is not a club or disc or lethal weapon. His weapon is Sankirtan movement. He killed the demonic mentality of the people by introducing the Sankirtan movement. So he says, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the incarnation of Krishna himself. And that's the way it goes. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combined incarnation of Krishna and Radharani. He has Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So that is what Lord Chaitanya is. We can talk in detail some other time. We don't have time today, but that is just for our understanding. He is a combined incarnation of Radha and Krishna. That's his Krishna, but in the mood of Radharani. And he incarnated as a devotee. And why it was that? In Krishna came in Dwapar Yuga, he gave Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita, what is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? It is Sarv Dharman Pratijya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. But he did not explain how to surrender. How to surrender, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this incarnation came, he taught us how to surrender. How to surrender? Sarv Dharman Pratijyan Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. How to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, how to surrender. The Lord Chaitanya came and he taught us that. So in this, it is said why when the Lord takes incarnation, what is the purpose of Lord's incarnation? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. To protect his devotees and to annihilate and destroy the demons. That is the main purpose of Lord's incarnation. So Krishna came with all this is chakra and gada to kill the demons But this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also came for the same purpose, to protect his devotees and to annihilate the demons. But his weapon was not gada and chakra, disc and club. His weapon was Sankirtan movement. He did not destroy the people, he destroyed the demoniac mentality in the people. That was the difference between incarnation of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He asked them he destroyed the demoniac mentality within the people, instead of destroying the people themselves. Therefore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that this is the incarnation of God in this age. And who worships him? The process is very simple. Just keep a picture of Lord Chaitanya with his associates. Lord Chaitanya is in the middle, accompanied by his principal associates Nityanand, Advait, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Anyone can have this his picture in his home, chant this Hare Krishna mantra, and just worship Lord Chaitanya. That is a simple method, but who will capture this simple method? Those who have good brains. Without much bother, if one simply keeps a picture of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at home and chants Hare Krishna, then one will realize God. In this age, those who have sufficient intelligence take to this Sankirtan movement and they advance very quickly. Lord Chaitanya is called the Golden Avatara. Avatara means descending, coming down. Just as one may come down from the 5th story or the 100th story of the building, an Avatara comes down from the spiritual planets in the spiritual sky. The Avatara for this age, Lord Chaitanya, is described in Vedic literature. We cannot accept anyone as an Avatara unless he has the symptoms described in the scriptures. Krishna, so that's important. Like, no, this is all this. We cannot accept the Avatara unless he has the symptoms described in the scriptures. Lord Chaitanya has been, it's written in all our scriptures, like all this Vayu Puran, Agni Puran, Bhavish Puran. Bhavish Puran also he has been forecast as his Avatara. In Bhagavatam, like, it has been told that this so and so incarnation will come in the form of a devotee. In Bhavish Puran has said his mother's name will be Sachi and father's name will be Jagannath Mishra. He will take birth appear in the Mayapur Navdeep. All this has been already mentioned in the scriptures before his birth, like now. So any incarnation you cannot accept as incarnation unless it is confirmed by our Shastras. All the symptoms, they match what is mentioned in the Shastras. They say in South India, there's one TV channel. And there are a lot of people in South India, they are claiming themselves to be Kalki Avatar. Kali has just started, like, no, they are Kalki Avatar has already come. So one TV channel, like, no, they invited all these Kalki Avatars who are claiming themselves to be Kalki Avatar. They invited them in the TV studio and they did not know that the other persons are also coming, like, no. Remember, like, they invited separately. So 30, 40 people, like, they're fighting among each other, like, no. They are a Kalki Avatar. You can imagine, like, no, these are all Bhagwans, like, these are all Kalki Avatars, they're fighting in the studio in front of the audience, like, no. So that's so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives us the opportunity to reach God directly when Rupa Goswami, the principal disciple of Lord Chaitanya, first saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a minister in the government of Bengal but wanted to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movements. So he gave up his position as a minister, and after joining, when he surrendered, he offered a nice prayer to the Lord Chaitanya. This prayer says, Namo Mahavedanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tuche Namaha. So that Rupa Goswami was his one of the foremost disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At that time, the Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, these were two brothers, and they were the ministers in the Nawab Hussain Shah's government in Bengal. That time the East Bengal and West Bengal was like one big area, and they used to call them the Gaud Pradesh, not the Bengal. Bengal became after much later. Gaud Pradesh, so that's why, like, no, since we have this, we are called this Gaudiya Vaishnava. But they come from that part of the India. So the king of Gauda was King Hussain Shah, and this Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, although they were the Brahmins, they worked as a ministers with the King Hussain Shah's ministry. And that's why they considered themselves to be contaminated, because they were serving a Muslim guy, like, no, who has no interest in any religious principles, like, no. And they wanted to leave this King Hussain Shah, and they wanted to go and join Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come by that time. So there is a long story, but this Rupa Goswami, he resigned from his job, and he had, like, that time, he had a lot of wealth because he was a minister. He distributed 50% of his wealth in charity, 25% he gave it to his family, to support his family, and all this, and then he went to Vrindavan and joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's completely. So he has written Namo Mahavedanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Namo Mahavedanyaya. Namo, he says, my dear Lord, you are the most munificent of all the incarnations. Why? Krishna Prema Pradayate. Namo Mahavedanyaya. You are the more munificent means more generous, more merciful incarnation. That's why Lord Chaitanya is considered very merciful incarnation. That's why sometimes we say, like, when we start in the beginning, instead of worshipping Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, we are advised to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he is very merciful. Even if you, like, if you are feeding him 3 times a day or 1 time a day and you forget you are outside, he will not take any offense. He doesn't take any offense, like, no. If you don't worship him like with nicely, he'll still accept it, like, no, whatever you do, he'll accept it. He doesn't take any offense. So that's why, like, in the beginning stage, like, when we are learning this devotional, how to do the devotional service, how to do the deity worship, like, that time it's better to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranitai, which is Gaurang, Krishna and Balram, which is Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu, Krishna and Balram. It's better to worship them instead of worshipping directly the Radha Shyam Sundar. Okay. He says, Namo Mahavedanya, you are most magnanimous or most munificent incarnation, because Krishna Prema Pradayat, you are giving direct love. You are directly giving love to God. You have no other purpose. Your process is so nice that one can immediately learn to love God. Therefore, you are the most munificent of all incarnations. And it is not possible for any personality other than Krishna himself to deliver this benediction. Therefore, I say to you, are Krishna, Krishnaya, Krishna Chaitanya Namne, you are Krishna, but you have assumed the name Krishna Chaitanya. I surrender to you. So this is the process. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he is teaching how to develop love of God by a very simple method. He says simply to chant Hare Krishna. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Namaiv Kevalam, Kalev Nastev, Gatir Annatha. In this is simple, go on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, there is no other alternative. The chanting process offered by Lord Chaitanya for achieving love of God is called Sankirtan. Sankirtan is a Sanskrit word. Sam means Samyak, complete, and Kirtan means glorifying or describing. So complete description means complete glorification of the Supreme, or the Supreme complete whole. It is not that one can describe anything or glorify anything, and that will be Kirtan. From the grammatical point of view, that may be Kirtan, but according to Vedic system, Kirtan means describing supreme authority, the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, that is called Kirtan. Basically, the Sankirtan means like, this is call and response system. I sing one line and you repeat that line, then I sing other line, you repeat that line. That's called Kirtan, call and response system, right? And Sankirtan means chanting in a group. Doing Kirtan in a group is called Sankirtan. And Kirtan means glorifying. Glorifying whom? Not glorifying, if I start glorifying Devan Prabhu, is not called Sankirtan like now. Glorifying the Supreme Lord. Only glorifying Supreme Lord is called Sankirtan. So this was the question. Compare the similarities and contrasts between Lord Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 12:10. Who would like to try? 12:10, like now we have to wind up quickly, right?
Yeah.
Compare the similarities and contrast between Lord Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarities were, they were both the God. They both were the incarnations. They took Krishna. It's actually, incarnation is not a right word too. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna himself. He was not an incarnation of Krishna or something like that. So there's no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. So he was, but in our normal language we call them incarnation like that. But this is, so there was no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarity, they both came to Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chaduskritam, to protect their devotees and to annihilate the demons. So this all these similarities, they all took incarnation because of these main purpose. What are the contrasts between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Colors were different.
Colors.
Yeah, colors were different, very good. And the method of execution was different. Krishna came and he killed the demons. He used his chakra to kill the demons. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not have any chakra, he had this Sankirtan movement. He has just chanting the holy names of the Lord, and he gave this freely to everyone. Like people with a demonic mentality, when they started chanting, their mentality got changed, their heart got purified. So they killed the demonic mentality, they killed the demons, the demonic mentality within the people by this with Sankirtan movement. So that was the different approach to achieve the same results. Like understanding how can one worship Lord Chaitanya at home, and why does it require good intelligence to take up this process of worship? So it's written that we can have a picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and with his associates, we call them Panchatattvas, and keep them in our home and start chanting in front of him, and that is the process of worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the process of worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just reciting the holy names of the Lord and he'll be happy. Just keep a picture and recite, chant, and he'll be happy. Why does it require a good intelligence to take up this process of worship? Who would like to try? I'm giving all the answers because I want to finish it quickly. I took more time today, it seems. Yeah. You need a lot of intelligence to understand this, like how this the way we have discussed today, like this mantra Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He was like does not there's no rules and regulations to be followed. You can chant, it can chant at any time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful incarnation. Like this is he's doesn't take any offenses. Like whatever you do, he'll be very pleased. He'll not take any offense. Like that's very important. So that you will be progress very fast. Like when you worship him. So all this the people who are not intelligent, they can't understand all this. Like. So it's like the people who are not intelligent, like it's very difficult for them to understand this. Now all you people are sitting here and listening to them. It's not by chance. Nothing happens by chance. It's all Krishna's plan. You have little bit of desire in your heart to know the God, and God he paves the way. Like he shows the way. He shows the way. He connects you with different people so that you can go and learn more about how to approach God. Like this is why is Lord Chaitanya the best of all incarnations? Namo Mahavedanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. He's giving love of Krishna directly. None of the previous avataras has done. He's giving love of Krishna directly. Why just and Krishna Prema, he's such a generous, such a magnanimous incarnation. Why just he said just change the holy names and he's giving the love of Krishna, distributing freely to everyone. That's why this is the best of all incarnations, and he's mercy personified. He's most merciful incarnation. He doesn't take any offense. What exactly is Sankirtan? What does it give us? We talked about it's a Kirtan in a group. It's called Sankirtan. What does it give us? It purifies us so that we develop love for Krishna. It purifies our heart. Purifies our heart from all the anarthas. Application: discuss what you find attractive in the process given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How it is different from the standard process of worshipping God. Would like to answer this? What you find attractive in the process given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Chanting.
Yeah, chanting. So what about the chanting? What?
There is no rules, no regulation. You can do it
Yeah, it
anytime.
can be chanted anywhere, any place. There are no rules and regulations. Right. There's no. So that's. How does it differ from the standard process of worshipping God? Usually the standard process we know of worshipping God are like maybe different, but this is chanting process different. Deity worship is another process. The yagna is another process. Like there's so many different processes. But chanting the names of the Lord is the process given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Preaching is the essence. The devotee's duty is to preach Krishna consciousness for the benefit of those suffering the pangs of material existence. The Lord is always ready to help the fallen souls, but because they are fools and rascals, they do not take to Krishna consciousness and abide by the instructions of Krishna. Therefore, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally the Supreme Lord, Krishna, he comes as a devotee to preach the Krishna consciousness movement, Yare Dekha Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us, like, once we know the science of Krishna consciousness, Yare Dekha Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. So we should, then once we know it, we should go and preach. Right? First we should learn and then we should preach. And preaching does not mean that you're sitting in the Vyasasana and giving lectures. Preaching means what Devendra Prabhu is doing. He's providing his house for this program. That is preaching. He's inviting you. That is preaching. That is he's conducting the kids class. That is preaching. Everything, anything you do in supporting this kind of program is called preaching. Usually our perception of preaching is just sitting here and giving the class. That's not. Anything you do to facilitate or support these programs is called preaching. It's very, very important. First you learn, whatever you learn, and then whatever you have learned, just preach that. Like, just when you are in an aircraft, it takes off. Before it takes off, and the air hostess tells you, like, no, first you tighten your belt, and then help others. First you learn, and then preach others. You'll never be perfect, but whatever you have learned, just start giving it to others. And that pleases the Krishna very much. One must therefore become a sincere servant of Krishna. Amar agya guru hana taroi des. He says, with my order you become guru, or start, guru means you start preaching, and taro yehi des, and deliver the whole country or the whole world. One should become a guru and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world simply by preaching the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Do you have a picture of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Like how?
Yeah.
I can send you that.
Okay.
You have any picture in the altar?
Well,
West Bengal.
Can you bring it?
Just to get an
He was
idea.
born in West Bengal.
He was born in West Bengal. It's 2 hours from Calcutta, a place called Mayapur. So he was born there. It's, I remember we used to हम लोग का उसमें
कथा नहीं पढ़ने आते।
हिस्ट्री में थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ाते थे शायद स्कूल में, राइट? बट ही यूज्ड टू टेल यू he was a saint, like he was saint in the bhakti marg. That is the only thing they'll tell you, like.
I have the vague memory that he had Narad type, like he always used to sing along and
Yeah, that's you. He always chant, glorify the Lord, and preach, like that was his.
Is he different from that Akshardham temple god? You know?
Akshardham it belongs to the Swami Narayan Sampradaya.
Yeah. Is he different?
Yeah, he's. So he's, you see, he's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he's Nityanand Prabhu. And they are, she's Krishna and he is Balram. So that's how he looks like, this Krishna and Balram. And usually there's another picture with the Panchatattva. He's got like 4 main associates. And there's 4 main associates, like, there's a picture of, probably in the next Friday, we can print some pictures and distribute, right? So you can keep at home and you can chant in front of the picture. Yeah, this is the picture with his associates. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you have Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Maybe we can pass on, like, if someone is interested. श्रील प्रभुपाद की देवेंद्र प्रभु और
सब जल्दी से तो जल्दी से थोड़ा सा स्नैक्स भी है, जल्दी से
प्रभु निकलना चाहिए उनका क्या हाल है? आज उसको उसका इधर का नेशनल क्लास उसको ड्रॉप करना है उसको संडे।
मुस्लिम के इतने फॉलोअर्स कैसे हो गए? जैसे मतलब जो रिलीजन इतने बने मैंने तो पढ़ाई नहीं की, कुछ आइडिया जैसे इतने फॉलोअर्स मुस्लिम के जैसे गुरु मस्जिद में जाते हैं तो इतने कट्टर कैसे हो गए? जैसे हिंदुइज्म में इतने अच्छी चीज़ें बताई हैं लेकिन फिर भी इतना रेगुलरिटी से कुछ मतलब फॉलो नहीं करते क्योंकि ऐसा क्या है
element of vigor that they have.
हाँ तो ऐसा क्या है उसमें कि इतना कट्टर तरह से वो लोग इतना फैनेटिक होते हैं कि 5 बार नमाज पढ़ना है और अगर मॉस्क वगैरह में देखें तो देयर इज लाइक ह्यूज क्राउड एक साथ गर्दन झुका रहे हैं नमाज पढ़ रहे
Quran also written